To you. Yes, welcome to another interesting and, of course, exciting edition of your program, our program, the newspaper review program, right here on News Poster NGTV. Yes, and many thanks to God Almighty for the grace to be alive and, of course, for the grace to be in another month. It's October, and you would accept and agree with me that gradually the year 2022 is fading out, but you and I are not fading out. My name is Olayinka Olatunji, saying many thanks for being a part of the show today. Of course, I am not alone on the program. I'm with my right hand man. I call him my partner in progress. Let me leave him to mention his name today by himself.
Oh my God, you always been very, very funny every day.
Every time I get to mention your name for you, and I don't know, you have refused to teach me the domi.
Yes, good morning, Nigerians. Good morning, everybody watching us all over the globe, across the globe. My name is Isaac Habayami Hajiboye. I remain your anchor here as we also unfold the goodies for today's newspaper headlines.
All right, with me this morning, I have the Punch newspaper. I also have the Vanguard newspaper. We have the Nigerian Tribune, the Blueprints paper, and News Direct. And of course, we have many more papers that will be reading their front dailies to you this beautiful morning.
With me here, I have the Guardian newspaper, the Nation newspaper, and also the Sporting Life, the Blueprint, and the Sporting Sun.
All right, so let's put our shoes on right now as we kickstart the show with the Punch newspaper. And coming from the front page of the front Punch newspaper this morning, AU chairs a stormy meeting, orders NWC members probe.
From the Guardian newspaper, the front page, which in fact almost all headlines of the Nigerian newspaper carried all the headlines this
Headline.
morning. Strike. FG weakens Asuu, registered rival union.
And still talking Asu this morning, Asu knocks Ingige over factional group registration.
Also from the front page of the Guardian newspaper this morning, towards the bottom line, Governor Sanwo-Olu announces salary increment for the Lagos State Civil Service.
And talking money, NNPC grows profits to 674 billion, assets hit 16 trillion naira.
Still from the Ghana newspaper front page, 3 killed, 20 truck burns as soldiers attack protesting Delta youths.
And of course, on the page 16 of the Punch newspaper this morning, Kanu mustn't die in detention. Eze Kume writes Buhari.
Youth takeover. Rivers community banish chief for alleged taking bribe from Shell.
Abiodun welcomes Amosu and the multi-million naira property of the 5 million naira. Abiodun welcomes Amosu with multi-million naira property, and of course, a mouth-watering amount of 5 million naira. That's a big one.
Moving ahead to the The Nation newspaper, PDP crisis. Board of Trustees move to unite Atiku. Wiki collapses.
And on page 20 of the Punch newspaper, NDA convocation, Asiwaju advocates local manufacturers of arm and ammunitions.
Police Commission okays dismissal of 7 senior police officers.
That's a developing story right here, but 150 persons killed during Ikoyi prison attack. This is coming from an eyewitness.
Also from the front page of the Nation newspaper this morning, federal government sues Zuckerberg agencies.
On page 16 of the Punch newspaper, Hoodlums attack APC rally in Ibadan, injures supporters.
Also from the front page of the newspaper towards the bottom line, Wabara takes Rivers governor position to PDP leadership. Why I wanted live coverage, Pali.
The National Deputy Chair, 5 others may face disciplinary panel over 122 million fraud.
Kogi police probe deaths of 9 family members.
Are you taking the story?
No, go ahead.
Okay, now let's look at page 16 of the Punch newspaper this morning, where it's saying that Kanu must not die in a detention. Chief Mike Ezeokume's son Council for the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, Nnamdi Kanu, has appealed to the President, Major General Muhammadu Buhari, retired, to immediately release Kanu from detention through a political solution. In a petition dated October 3rd, 2022, a copy of which was made available to the Punch newspaper on Tuesday, the lawyer urged Buhari to order the immediate release of Kanu by instructing the Attorney General of the Federation to wield his power under Section 174 of the 1999 Constitution to enter another pursuit. According to him, the appeal is to enable Buhari to correct the long-standing controversy of the continued detention of Kanu by the Nigerian government under cruel, inhumane, and degrading conditions.
Okay, from the page 4 of the Nation newspaper this morning, PSC, Police Service Commission, okay, dismissal of 7 senior police officers. The Police Service Commission has approved the dismissal of the senior police officer over gross misconduct. The Commission also approved the reduction of the rank of 10 officers. The decision we are taking had the ongoing 15th plenary meeting on the Commission, which is expected to end by tomorrow. The dismissed officer are one of the chief superintendents of police officer, a superintendent of police, and 5 assistant superintendent of police, ASP. The names were not released to the journalist at the police force headquarters.
Talking Asuu as Asuu knocks Ngige over factional group registration. The Academic Staff Union of Universities on Tuesday announced the Minister of Labor and Employment, Chris Ngige, over the federal government's decision to register rival groups, the Congress of University Academics and the National Association of Medical and Dental Academics as trade union. The Punch reports that Ngige presented certificates of registration to Konwa and Nnamda in Abuja. The minister said 2 trade unions would exist side by side with Asuu, and that Konwa is led by the national coordinator Aniyi Sumonu, a lecturer at the Obafemi Awolowo University in Ile-Ife.
Amila, that's the Speaker House of Representatives and the Federal House of Rep, present Asuu recommendations to Buhari. Another meeting scheduled for tomorrow for the final outcome of that meeting. NASU, SANU member received September salaries. Have you silent on outstanding wages? Government to pay outstanding salaries of the new union. If you could agree with me, there's a lot of that transpired between the HASU, the NASU, and even the House of Rep member, the Federal House of Rep yesterday, including the Secretary to the Federation, that's Boss Mustafa. The head of service was also there present. And I think at this point, there is a need for us to also take a look at what transpired at the National Assembly towards the end of the coming the deliberation yesterday. Please, let's quickly watch time.
We have responsibilities of making sure that at least we find a resolution to this issue. I will continue to assure you about the support of the Office of the Secretary of the Government of the Federation. Whatever decisions are taken, whatever directives are given, where we intend to provide any information or be in attendance in subsequent meetings, you can count on me on that.
Instead of 240, when they say let the 3 group, the government team, the Federation office, and all the unions sit down and develop a platform, and government did not come for it. And this time we were challenged to produce, we were challenged to produce what is better than this, and we will use it. We have the documentation. So why are we trying to put us, and when they get to test, ask the name, what is the name of the document that they brought for testing? Was it this? So that is it, sir. I think we should be patriotic to Nigeria. You can't be paying so much money to inform. Look at, I have a copy of it. The one I have a copy of it here. You are paying so much money to inform this thing per person. So that let me patriotic to Nigeria. Are they using the central bank? Are they not patriotic? They don't have law. Are they using it either?
The white paper we told you we'll get, the letter is here. I just showed it. I just waved it. It's now waiting for the President's final approval of the revitalization. I have the DG budget here in terms of finances and whatever you require. Has there been an input in the budget? We made a promise to you the first meeting we had on what we would do. Standing by that promise. We're standing by that promise. The issue of the UTAS, you said you hadn't seen the report. We have it here. So we've been working, more or less working for you.
That the recurrent cost of government is much higher than the capital and developmental cost. And there's no country that wants to develop that would retain that kind of ratio. And so the need has come that look, we need to be strict on employing people into the federal system. It cannot just be at anybody's will that, okay, you want to employ, you go and pack everybody from your village and put on the payroll, and government pays.
So you hit the nail on the head. The Peace Committee was a product of my conciliation and my ministry. I will say, go now back to your direct employer education, and through negotiation, what we call
responsibilities of making sure that at least we find
That's a look on the analysis of what transpired at the National Assembly yesterday when the Asuu and the Federal House of Rep member were together to have a meeting ahead of the ongoing strike. Meanwhile, the meeting was inconclusive. And if you could agree with me, Olenka, that meeting still proceed today to see the final resolution towards the over 7-month ongoing strike.
There has definitely been unresolved meetings that they've been having, but I hope that the final one they will have, because I'm really, really tired of the Asuu strike. I won't lie to you. Our foodstuffs are getting finished at home, because I think I have a younger one staying with me, and I really don't have that. So, all right, welcome back. This is still the newspaper review program right here on News Poster NGTV. And looking at the news making its way into the Vanguard newspaper this beautiful morning, still talking strike, Asuu aiding corruption in universities, says Buhari.
From here, at the Punch newspaper, towards the bottom line, hoodlums attack APC rally in Ibadan, injures protesters. The details of that stories can be found on page 16 of Punch newspaper, yes.
PDP crisis, BOT Wike, hopefully after 4 hours per day. This is of course on the page 8 of the Vanguard newspaper.
150 persons killed during Ikoyi prison attack. Details can be found on page 4 and 5 of Punch newspaper.
Obi rolls out agenda, vows to restore governance, secure united Nigeria. This is on the page 11 of the Vanguard newspaper.
Kanu must not die in detention. Ozekome, right? Buhari.
Sanwo-Olu approves pay rise for workers, for Lagos workers, and of course, I think this news is going to bring, the 32. I can see you laughing right now. I don't know if Sanwo-Olu pays your salary, but then he's saying that there's certainly going to be a light at the end of the tunnel, as there's an expected increment in salaries of workers across Lagos states.
Actually, if you could agree with me, is one of those things that motivates civil servants when it comes to improvement on salary scale, wages, and all of those things.
Well, I will say that maybe it is another, tactics, because of course we are around the electioneering period, and we are in the campaign period. I hope this is not just water our mouth, and all this is to get people out to also vote in the country of Nigeria. All right, so still looking at the Vanguard newspaper, NNPCL grows profits by 134% to 674 billion naira on the page 9 of the Vanguard newspaper. International as authentic list will soon be out, says the federal government.
From the Guardian newspaper, INEC clears Delta's Obewori omit Ogun PDP. The LP governorship candidate. Details can be found on page 6 of the Guardian newspaper.
Nigerian Air, federal government raises alarm, warns Nigerians against fake recruitment websites.
And with me here from the Sporting Life, Awoni must be clinical in front of goal.
Over 67% of women in Nigeria are anemic, says UNICEF.
Also from the Sporting Sun, Liverpool trash Rangers 2-0 down. Had a hand feed yesterday.
Engage stakeholders more before new FTZ development, says ex-custom officer.
Looking at the statistics of what happened at San Siro yesterday between Inter and Barca, Inter Milan trashes Barcelona 1-0 at the end of 90 minutes.
Okay, Buhari's last Independence Day celebration in office, and this is on the talking point by Rotimi Fason.
Haaland peerless with any other striker in the whole world, says Man City.
All right, it's still on the front page of the Vanguard newspaper. This morning, PDP crisis, BOT weekend, hopefully, after 4 hours of delay. And we also have detention. Nnamdi Kanu's petitions. Buhari seeks political solution.
Ignore Afenifere, their candidates lost all election in 30 years. That details can be found from the front page of the Nigerian News Direct this morning.
And I hope that it is not Reno or mockery that is talking about that, because Reno, I don't know, but he's trying. Okay, let's see this Asuu story. ACCE postpones conference. The African Council for Communication Education, ACCE Nigerian chapter, has postponed its 23rd International Conference and the AGM indefinitely due to the ongoing Academic Staff Union of University Asuu strike. The annual international conference and AGM tagged ACCE Unizik 2022 with the theme Communication Science and Technology and Innovation in Times of Economic Distress, Terror and a Global Pandemic was scheduled to hold for Tuesday, October the 25th to Friday, October the 28th, 2022. The postponement was made public in a statement jointly signed by Professor Nnamdi and Ezekiel Asema and Dr. Obiora of the National President and National Secretary of ACCE and COC ACCE Unizik in 2022 respectively, and made available to newsmen in Uyo, Akwa Ibom since yesterday.
From here, with me, first news. Corruption rampant in tertiary institutions. Asuu complicit Buhari as Jega says corruption incidents warrants interference and attention by the federal government.
Over 67% of women in Nigeria are anemic. The United Nations Children's Fund, UNICEF, yesterday said over 67% of women in Nigeria are anemic. UNICEF nutrition specialist Mrs. Ngozi Onora, who made the disclosure during a 5-day community of practice workshop on building capacity to mainstream nutrition into investment agenda, lamented the effect of the malnutrition to the overall health and well-being of the mother and child. While speaking on the object of the workshop and the effective management of first 1,000 days window of opportunity for every child and strategic opinions.
Again, PDP BOT meets with Wike hand in deadlock. Yesterday meeting between the Board of Trustees of the People Democratic Party and the Rivers State Governor Nyesom Wike at the Governor's House, Port Harcourt, ended in a deadlock. The closed-door section, which lasted for about hours, failed to address the protracted crisis rocking the party, as Wike insisted that the national chairman, Irachahayu, must resign and left the party for them.
All right, on the front page of the News Direct paper this morning, NDCIC provides deposit insurance to 33 DMBs and 882 FMBs and 34 PMBs, others, says Bello Hassan.
Following Lam additional, others hold APC campaign rally in Ibadan. The candidate of All Progressive Congress for the 2023 gubernatorial election, Senator Teslim Folari, candidate for the Ibadan Northeast South Federal Constituency, Adedapo Lamadishina, among others, yesterday led APC supporters in a campaign rally in Ibadan, Oyo State capital. The rally led to the serious traffic congestion across the city, but also known as coordinated by the team police officer of the Federal Road Safety Corps and the other security agencies and traffic management agencies. Folarin, who led the campaign, also advised the governor Seyi Makinde to consider supporting the Tinubu Shetima presidential campaign team against the candidates of his party. The People Democratic Party (PDP) Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, he said the best thing that could happen to Nigerians to move forward and the capacity and the capabilities of both Tinubu and Shetima. Lam Adesina on his part said Tinubu had a various ways to demonstrate the capability and redeemed Nigerian image before the world.
Accessing data in Nigeria without permission is a criminal offense, and this is coming from Pantami at this beautiful morning on the front page of the News Direct paper.
Gbajabiamila present Asuu recommendations to Buhari. Another meeting held for final outcome. The Academic Staff Union of the University break out the rank lecturer of the union and the National Association of Medical and Dental Academics, NAMDA, and the Congress of the Nigerian Universities Academic, CONOA. The Minister of Labor and Employment, Professor Chris Ingige, who speaks while representing the certificate of registration to the two union, explained the two bodies will exist alongside with Asuu. Asuu has been on strike since February 14, 2022 this year as lecturer of a public universities protest unpaid allowances and demand better welfare package for the federal government. Ingige, who approved the existence of the two union in Abuja, said COA registered became because they couldn't believe the current strike by Asuu. He hinted that CONOA has been seeking registration since on before 2018.
And World Habit Day, Abiodun suspends penalty on illegal buildings.
FG withdraws motion to transfer Kanu's case from Unamia to Abuja. The Federal High Court sitting in Umuahia yesterday, granted the application of the federal government to transfer Nnamdi Kanu's substanding extraordinary rendition case from Umuahia to Abuja. Kanu Special Counsel Aloy Ijakomo had in March 2022 filed a suit before the Federal High Court in Umuahia.
All right, so looking at the Vanguard newspaper this morning, as Nigeria Air is raising an alarm to warn Nigerians against fake recruitment websites. Let's launch on this story as management of Nigerian Air Limited has raised alarm over fake websites and links used for advertisements and recruitment of unsuspecting members of the public. The Special Assistant of Public Affairs to the Minister of Aviation, James Odudua, in a statement yesterday, advised Nigerians to dismiss such notification or invitation as noting of such is currently ongoing. He, however, advised those who applied for the earlier officially advertised positions to get authenticated information from the official website, which is www.nigerianair.world. The statement reads, the attention of the management of Nigerian Air Limited has been drawn to some recruitment advertisements and announcements by certain unscrupulous elements claiming to be agents or staff of the upcoming airline. This is like a wake-up call to Nigerians who go to different sites, yes, online to search for jobs. You get to fill forms. Some even get to pay for certain forms, and at the end of the day, they get swindled. Some people get invited to places for interview and they get kidnapped. Some women get raped, and some get used for a ritual. Be very sure that you know the site with which you are applying for a job, or at least you have a vital information before attending an online interview.
Olayinka, if you could agree with me, it's another interesting story that has been pending for some couple of months back.
Okay.
Lagos Court hears audio conversation of Chidinma, security guard in Ataga's murder trial. Justice Yetunde Adesanya of Lagos State High Court Lagos High Court sitting at Tafawa Balewa Square, TBS, yesterday played an audio recording on phone conversation between Chidima Ujuku and the security guard Abubakar Muhammad had rented short-let service apartment where Michael Usof Ataga, the chief executive officer of the Super TV, was allegedly murdered. The trial judge played the audio conversation in an ongoing trial of Ojukwu alongside her sister Chioma Ibuchu and one Adedapo Quadri for alleged stealing, forgery, murder of Ataga. At the resumed hearing, the Lagos State Deputy Director of Public Prosecution (DPP), Mrs. Adenike Oluwafemi, asked the witness Deputy Superintendent of Police (DSP) Bamidele to confirm his testimonies of May 9, where he told the court about his security guard interaction and conversation with the first defendant. That's to tell you that a lot of things have to be put in place when it has to come to relationship and extramarital affairs in any home as we speak today.
All right, a 3-year-old, 5 others die as flood continues to ravage Kogi. 6 persons, including a 3-year-old girl, have lost their lives after houses, farmlands, and roads became flooded in Ibadan local government area of Kogi State. Also, flood has sacked members of the House of Assembly from their headquarters in Lokoja. The president of Ibadan Unity Forum (IUF), Mr. Stephen Ohuala, made this known on Tuesday after he led officials of the union to visit some affected communities in the area. Ohuala said the Anocha in Ojila ward, a 3-year-old girl, fell into the river and died, just as he added that the number of victims is low because the majority of the people can swim. He lamented that since the flood destroyed the council area and rendered residents homeless, there had not been any assistance from government or agency. Ochola added that many of the victims are sick and without drugs, food, and shelter, just as he revealed that many are still trapped in communities as all roads in the councils have been taken over by flood. And of course, we saw some clips and some videos online that was talking about this flood, and it's bizarre.
It's an eyesore.
I don't even know what to say. I used to think that Lagos was at risk, but Kogi State, I think, is right now taking the lead. And of course, somewhere around Edo State is also being flooded as we speak.
And away from the newspaper review this morning, let's quickly move to the topic of the day as we review the ongoing Asuu strike between the Asuu and the NASU, including the House of Rep members. Yesterday, it was a deadlock meeting between the both parties where they had a lot of disagreements between them, looking at the terms and conditions laid by the federal government to see how the payment will be made, and aside that, putting lecturers under IPPIS, they say it's no go area. What's your take on this?
I would say that sometimes when people are sitting on the fence of a particular discussion, I think I said this in our last newspaper review when we had this conversation, that sometimes Nigerians are like doors. Some of them can see inside, while some of them can see outside. Now, when you're talking about this incessant, continuous ASU strike, I feel like the federal government is about to sit up because the students are no longer finding it likely. And sitting up, it means that you're trying to break, a body that has been set for so many years, and you want to come up with another body. What assurance do you have that the other body that you are enacting will also not go for strike, maybe in the long run? Maybe you can just give them like 10 years. Another 10 years, you see them coming out and like, we are not satisfied with what it is that you are giving us.
Although the conclusion of the stories is not yet done, because they are still proceeding today at the National Assembly to see the way out, so that where the two viral newly equipped body can, yes, because looking at this step, they can it grow our educational sector?
As we celebrate Teachers' Day today, actually, I want to say a big congratulations to African teachers, to Nigerian teachers, and of course to the entire teachers in the world. A whole lot of people say that teachers' reward is actually in heaven, but they don't that anymore. They say their reward is not on
No, it's
earth.
yes, it's on
Now,
this earth now.
it is a teacher who has made us who we are today, and a teacher is the one who has even made the president and, of course, the top officials in a society. If that teacher is relegated, if that same teacher is not respected or well recognized, what becomes of our educational system? And what Yomi is trying to say is, even with the body of the Konua and the Nanda that has been enacted, is there any possibility that it can help our educational system? And I don't know if to say a no, because sometimes Yoruba actually says "Enyabalaba baba."
And what
Asu has been there.
ever since when every the existence of education in Nigeria, ASU is a body,
Mhm.
and it's not something that one can just wake up in a day and say no, they are no more.
Okay.
Talking about the infrastructure, the educational sector, the curriculum, the syllabus, we have more than enough. Do you know what is ASU itself?
But according to the clip we watched last week, it
Hmm.
said that the federal government gave ASU a couple of an amount of money, and ASU was not even able to refund the money. I think out of 300 and something million naira, they were able to just pay back 35 million naira. We clamored for an NSAS in Nigeria, and it happened. If ASU is becoming too adamant to hear the cry of its citizens and of course its students, if dissolving it will make things better, will make our educational system to get balanced back. I think it's not a bad idea. I'm not saying that what they are clamoring for or their cries or their calls shouldn't be hearkened to, but there is a limit to everything. Sometimes you can have a discussion on the fence. Why not go back to classes and continue to run your meetings with the federal government instead of staying at home and letting these children wallow away? Some an idle mind, they say, is a devil's workshop, and the continuous strike can, bring it can bring a whole lot of hazards. Now, see, we're in the campaign period, electioneering period, where some of these students can be used as a tool, to disrupt election
But
process.
on a more serious note, I could recall vividly very well when Nigerian Labour Congress held the rally, sometimes a month or thereabouts. Uh, quote, I'm now quoting Femi Falana, saying, one person in Kuje prison can solve this house of problem. Says by Femi Falana.
Do you want to tell us the person?
No, Falana was just like remembering or placing a quote on all the top officials that was embezzled or misappropriate of public fund and in their various offices. Some were being sentenced to Kuje prison, some were in Ikoyi prison. No, it was just like, all these things they were deliberating on. It's something that a single-handed person can easily solve among people in the Kuje prison.
Talking about solving an issue, maybe financial imbalance and the rest, I feel like developed countries and developing countries usually don't have much bodies. Nigeria is so engulfed with the body of this, the association of that, the this of this, and these people all come together to place their needs. And all these things are coming to a government that is indebted to other countries. I want to say that, in fact, when Obasanjo was the president, he brought the National Open University into Nigeria.
Of course.
The open and the distance, education. Even as ASU is on strike, now is not a member of it. The studies is distance, but the students are still going to school, they are still graduating, they're having their convocations and all. I feel like we should actually reduce a body, the bodies that are not outside Nigeria. We have some universities that are abroad that fund themselves. If as a university your students can pay their tuition fee, their exam fee, and some other fees, these fees should be used to pay salaries and to renovate and block some other loopholes. I feel like every time we tend to want to make demand on the government that even has has the money is not even there to pay. And when the money is there, you continue to. What about the Paris Refund Club? A whole lot of debt is on Nigerians, and now we are begging that, okay, oh, come and forgive us that we are owing you. Who forgives people who owes them?
But looking from the grievances of Asuu, as far back as 2009, that was when the agreement was made between them and the then administration, which they couldn't fulfill, and still resulting to a lot of hard work as we see it appearing today. But now, believe me, in your own opinion, do you think this government is not a decisive government?
I feel like some agreements are kept while some are broken. Sometimes it's not an oath taking. Okay, a thing of oath, we even see people breaking oaths or covenants. But this is like an agreement. An agreement you make for some years to come, like a projected agreement. You don't know what is going to become of a year to come. If things are no longer the way it is, we can see that everything has changed in Nigeria. The recession is getting heavier by the day.
Well, on that note, I may agree with you. As I saw this man saying it on TV the last time, which is a Fashola, saying the way government operates is quite different from the way we operate from her different home. Government is about one government to another.
Definitely.
From one organ to another table, from one table to another table. Each one we sign, and it will now pass through a due process. But nevertheless, we are not disputing that. But I didn't think at this point in time, in fact, probably this is the second time ever since the creation of Asuu, they will have a very long strike.
Right.
Because the last time I could recall during Jonathan, I think it was about 11 months, thereabouts then. But now we have over almost getting to the 8 months now of this Asuu strike, of which a lot of female students have even get pregnant. A lot have even delivered. Some have even forgotten what they've been taught. And
we are talking about the
we are talking about the overpopulation and the birth rate in Nigeria. Where are we heading to in this country, for crying out loud? And with Nigeria just celebrated 62 years.
And you know, I think I was speaking to a neighbor's child over the weekend, and she was telling me that she wants to enroll for JAMB lessons. And I'm like, you want to enroll for JAMB lessons where Asuu is at home? The ones that wrote JAMB last year are yet to get admission, and you still want to have pending, you still want to start selling JAMB forms. You want to have another. We just keep raising money. These monies, where are they? Sometimes we just need to sit down on the fence and say, okay, can I jump down? Can I be balanced here? We need to balance it. It's not about bringing money. I feel like even JAMB itself should be scrapped.
And I even think this money they're even deliberating on is for the rehabilitation of some tertiary institutions, maybe a rehabilitation of some ICT centers, and a building of modern building for conducive environment for students to learn. Honestly, you hardly find a very good and conducive library in any of our tertiary institutions in Nigeria. I could recall in those days, UI and UCH Ibadan was one of the best that even the people in the diaspora do recommend for surgery, for all of those things. Where, in fact, go to UCH Ibadan today, go to UI today, you hardly found modern facilities there, and which is so bad.
It is so bad. And again, I feel like Nigerians should actually find a way of beaming their searchlight on artisans. Yoruba will say "Atelewo Kontonije." If you actually learn, I don't know what it is. I think I've forgotten the name they call them right now, and I think that they have a school. They have this college of education in Kaba in Kogi State, where what they do is train artistry, where you can be a tailor, you can be a mechanic, a hairdresser, and I feel like we should this book thing. I'm not saying book is not good, reading is not good. Westernization is the best. It has brought an eye opener it has brought eye opening to our system. Fine, but I feel like we should, because this life right now, the way we're moving is like a trade and trade and
Honestly,
barter.
honestly.
You are a mechanic, and I am a tailor. You bring your car to me, I repair. I bring your clothes to you. I bring my clothes to you, and you sew. Now you give me money, I take money. But a whole lot of, even these students that are saying we want Asuu strike to end before, a whole lot of them will still graduate and sit at home for years. Some of them will get a job, and you'll be like, how old are you? I'm 30. Like, we are looking for 21-year-old person who has 8 years experience. Igba will not be.
And on this note, I think all government at all level needs to play their own role in
Definitely.
terms of even the executive arms of government, the legislative arms of government, and the judiciary arms,
Judiciary.
yes, arms of government, because all these things need a big role to play in the lives of the citizenry. And at this point, I think the producer is about telling us the time is almost at the corner.
All right, this is definitely where we'll be drawing the curtain for our newspaper review. And as Abayomi has said, federal governments and of course state governments, local governments, and all the government bodies in Nigeria, we are begging you. And this is more like a call to beg you to please find a way to resolve all issues that you have with educational bodies. And we don't want this to repeat itself, definitely. If you are enacting another body, make sure that agreements that can be kept is what we are making. And well, I think independence would help a lot, because sometimes if universities are independent, they are able to actually foot certain bills themselves. And when it becomes overpowering for them, then they can cry to the government. Until another time when we'll come on newspaper review program. My name is Olayinka Olatunji. I am telling Nigerian students to get something doing. If at the beginning of this strike you had enrolled yourself into maybe like a workshop or something, by now you would have been having, something to take back to school. Some people in their school now, they will just go back, you just see them start making hair, and they are making money to help themselves. These things alleviate poverty from a society. And idle mind, they say, is the devil's workshop. Get busy, because the strike will be over. When it will be is what we don't know. So get busy, because it is not too late to do something for yourself. My name is Olayinka Olatunji, saying many thanks for being a part of the newspaper review program on Newsposter NGTV. Do not forget to follow, like, comment, and of course, drop your observations. Click on the notification buttons to get other programming from Newsposter NGTV. Until some other time, I leave you in the hands of God for many blessings, October blessings, independence blessings. Have a great day ahead.
Just like my colleague have said, just drop your observation, your comment, your own opinion from your own point of view. Let's hear you. Let's have a feedback. A feedback is a good communication. I remain my humble self, Isaac Abayomi Ajiboye. Till we meet next time, saying bye bye for now.